About to start, yeah. Okay, given each of the variables t, w, x, y, and z represents a different positive real number, so have to be positive numbers, given the equations below, which of the four variables w, x, y, and z necessarily has the greatest value? Alright, so basically what we're looking at here is what do we know the relationship is between w, x, y, and z and t, which is the result of each of these different multipliers. So let's just start off with something simple. If w is 1, then t would be 1.23. So I know that t is bigger than w. And we're looking for which one has the greatest value. So t is definitely bigger than w, so w can't be the biggest. Now, the same thing would be true here for x, because when you're multiplying by a number bigger, you're saying that x has to be smaller, because the smaller number multiplied by the bigger number is going to get you that t here. So 1.01 times, let's say x is 1. If x were 1, then 1.01 times 1 would be 1.01. So I know that if x is 1, t would be 1.01. So no matter what we plug in for x, t is going to have to be bigger as well. So x is out. T is bigger than w, and it's bigger than x. So given these relationships, t is definitely bigger than w and x. So now let's look at these other two. Now these numbers are smaller than 1. So what happens when you multiply 0.99 times? Let's say, what if y was 1? 0.99 times 1 is 0.99. So if y is 1, t is 0.99. Now that's the opposite relationship. So if y is 1, t is actually going to have to be less than that. So y is bigger than t. So now t is out. And so now we look at our last one here, and we can see that if z is 1, t is going to be 0.23 times 1, which is 0.23. And 0.23 is smaller than 1, so t is obviously smaller than z as well. So now if t is smaller than y and smaller than z, how do we know if y or z is bigger? And let's just use these last two as a kind of a helpful comparison. When we looked at y being 1, t was just smaller than that, 0.99. It was almost the same as y, but not quite. Now z, on the other hand, when z was 1, t was way smaller. So z is much bigger than t, while y is only a little bigger than t. So z is way bigger than t, y is only a little bigger than t, so z has to be our greatest value.